Hi, my name is Samantha Squires, and this is my low-tech assistive technology video. I wanted to start the video off by introducing myself a little bit and telling you a little bit about myself. My husband Seth and I live in Excelsior Springs, Missouri. We're a little town outside of Liberty. We have a dog, Oliver, who you probably will see throughout either this video or other videos, and we also have a cat. We just recently got married in September, and we've lived here for about a year. I work in Platte City, Missouri. I am a para at a middle school. In recent years, I was a librarian at an elementary school. I also teach dance one night a week, and I own my own business. So we stay pretty busy. My husband works downtown Kansas City at Commerce Bank. So we like to stay pretty busy. Sporting my Chiefs wear for Red Friday, and so I'm going to get started. I based mine off of my previous student I had last year. He was a middle schooler who had cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy is what messes with the muscle tone. He was in a wheelchair. He really didn't have use of his legs or his arms. There also were some behavior issues and some seizure issues. So I really targeted my 3 low assistive technology tools towards him. So the first one I'm going to share are my schedule tabs. Now, I had a couple ideas for these. The first one is there would be 2 different sets. One would be on the board. There would be magnets on the back and on the board. And then the other one, my student had a tray that hooked to his wheelchair. One would also be on the tray and a little bit smaller. My student, yes, he was in 6th grade, but he honestly was just, some of the things he did were a little bit lower level. So I kind of did this more towards an elementary school because I think he really would have liked this, and the pictures really would have helped. So I had 3 categories. Green would have been every day, and the teacher just would put these in the order. So they'd start with arrival, there's science, math. I color coded them depending on how I wanted them. So I had, arrival, and then there'd be like calendar for when they got to school, and morning work would come next, and they would just be like this on the board. And even I would write times next to like 7:35 to 7:45. And I think this would really help with the independence of the student. I noticed a big issue of, are we done? Can we go to the next thing? Can we move on? So I think that this would be a really great helpful tool for the student to see, like, okay, well, we have 5 more minutes left. And then next to this being a digital clock, I think this incorporates, reading and reading visual cues and math, because if they see that it's 7:40 and they get done with calendar at 7:45, how many more minutes of, calendar do we have? So I think this would be a great tool. So I have green as something that happens every single day. They would get used to this being an everyday item. This would be, very beneficial they know that this is what happens every day. This would be their schedule, something for them to get used to. Purple would be like the electives class, which I think is, like gym, PE. There's, computer labs, but, my students wasn't the best at reading either. They didn't really know how to read either. So even these little pictures, they could be like, well, where do we go to next? Well, how about you look at the picture and where do you think we go to? So again, reading those visual cues and making them more independent. And then I also had orange. Orange would be kind of the extra spaces throughout the day. So these wouldn't be an everyday thing, or these would be, these would change throughout the week. So there's literacy stations, there's, a class meeting, there would be math stations, and these would just fall into what best suits the teacher's quiet reading, free choice. Maybe there's a test that day. I think it's really important kids know if there is a test coming up that day. So I really liked these. I was a one-on-one para, but I also worked closely with a student that that was blind, and I did learn how to do Braille. So I think that it would be another beneficial thing to put Braille on one side of these so that even all students would be able to participate with this. Like, oh, can you tell us where we go next? And they would be able to find out where we would go next. So that would be an easy way to just load this into the Brailler, put in where we go, and then move on. So my next tool is really geared towards a student that has low muscle tone. I love these. I think these are amazing. My student had a great time using these. So I borrowed these for my video. These are adaptive scissors. The student's hand goes here, and then the teacher's hands can go right behind them and kind of guide. So it's dual usage. It can help with them being able to help and not the teacher having to do all the work, or the assistant or the para having to do all the work. These also work really well with, students that have visual impairments, because they might not be able to see where they're cutting, and the teacher can kind of guide where they need to go. I think these are a great tool. I really liked these. They were very helpful. It kind of gave my student a little bit more of that independent feeling. I also think these would be great for kindergarten age, because if you have a student that really struggles, and when I worked in an elementary school, I did have a kindergartner with CP, and I think these would have been a lifesaver for him, because he couldn't get his fingers in the holes of little kid scissors, and he really struggled and was very frustrated. And I think these are a wonderful alternative for that. The last one I have are my double-sided counting chips, and I have a couple different ones that I wanted to use. So the first ones, I have foam ones like these, but again, they're all double-sided, and then I have ones that are kind of more of the plastic, and then I have the plastic ones with some magnets on them. So what I would technically use these for is math. I would use these for subtraction and addition. My student really struggled with those things, especially subtraction, like subtracting, learning what is 5 minus 2, instead of doing like 2, 3, 4, 5, and then seeing how many fingers. I really think these are a great tool to say, I have 5 in my hand, I take away 2, how many do I have left? I also really like them because they're double-sided. I think this is great because you can show, like, if I have, 2 yellow in this hand and my friend has 2 red in this hand, if we put them together, what do our 2 groups show? And it shows 4. This can also help with multiplication and showing groups and grouping them together, which I really like. And the magnet ones, you can make it a class activity, putting them on the board. I don't have a lot that I put magnets on, but I do have some. And again, putting magnets, they can go on the same side, they can go on different sides. It's however the teacher wants to make those work. The foam ones are for students that might struggle with that hand-eye coordination. That's a really big reason why I like these. My student could use these to move. And instead of me holding my fingers up and going, if I have 10 and I take away 5, how many's left? It really got him to use his movements. And, as a teacher in special education, you're not just wanting to help them with, the school appropriate things like math, science, social studies, language arts. You're also wanting to help them with life skills, and to help them with that hand-eye coordination, I think is extremely important in helping them with getting their body moving. And sometimes that can be a struggle for children with CP or another body disability. So I think this is a really great way to, count. Again, with the student that I had that was blind as well, he was able to use these, and, we'd say, okay, you have, how many do you have there? And he could count, I have 5. Okay, can you take away 3? How many do you have left? So again, I really like these. I would always keep a bag with me wherever I went with my students so that I could use these. Again, I have some different ones, but they're all the two-toned ones of those. So I hope you enjoyed my 3 low assistive technology. Just to recap, I had the schedule, the color-coded schedule. I had the adaptive scissors, and then I had the 2-tone colored counters. So thank you so much.